them, leading to this major win for the opposition. What seems to be just too big of a win for the Turkish president. This is the largest city in the country and the main economic hub. This is where the Turkish president has started his political career in the 90s when he was mayor. This is his hometown. Those are really embarrassing loss for him. Today, we're going to see in Ankara an urgent meeting by the major opposition to see how exactly they're going to react to all of this.
Well, that decision to rerun Istanbul's mayoral election provoked protests, as Rosie in the Cube told us.
Well, let me take you to the streets after the news broke. Have a listen to this. This reporter from Reuters took this video last night. Now, what you can hear is the rattle of pots and pans, cars honking, whoops, cheers, deafening Istanbul's residents spontaneously coming outside. Now, Turkey actually have a history of protesting with pots and pans and making a huge racket. We can see some more of that here as well. Loads of people coming out, young people as well, crowding out on the streets saying, we do not support what's happened here. And it's been made really clear from other European leaders that they're not happy as well. Katy Perry is one of the candidates running for the elections. She says Erdogan does not accept defeat, goes against the people. This ends the credibility of democratic transition of power throughout elections in Turkey. Now, that sentiment has been echoed by Guy Verhofstadt. He's one of the people in the running to become the top job, the EU's Commission president in the elections taking place at the end of this month. But under such leadership, he says, full support to the Turkish people for protesting their democratic rights for a free and open Turkey. Goes so far to say Turkey's drifting towards dictatorship. Well, finally, the EU's delegation to Turkey have issued this statement saying it's so important to ensure free and fair, transparent election process. It's essential to any democracy and it's the heart of the European Union's relations with Turkey. They're saying we need to have scrutiny on this election process as it takes place.
Rosie in the Cube there. Still to come on the programme, the UN puts the world on notice as 1 million species face extinction. And Libya's UN-backed Prime Minister is warning of a new migration crisis and seeking help from Europe against Haftar.
This week on Euronews.
Dubai is well known for attracting international jet setters and business leaders. The Emirates also attracts every type of holidaymaker imaginable, from young families seeking a sunny getaway to retirees seeking relaxation. Discover the activities, the attractions and the experiences that make Dubai a unique destination. That's in life on Euronews and Euronews.com.
Good Morning Europe, coming up on Euronews.
A reminder of our top story this morning, shaking up the race for the EU's top job. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban has said he no longer supports Manfred Weber's bid to become the next president of the European Commission. Orban said that Weber had insulted Hungary. Welcome back. Humanity has pushed nature to such a dire brink that we may be responsible for the total collapse of biodiversity. That is the stark conclusion of a new report from the UN that looked at the potential for species extinction, both on land and in the sea. But the report authors stress that there is still time to make significant change, as Neil O'Reilly reports.
A world of disappearing diversity and we're to blame. The stark message from years of research by scientists from 50 countries. Human civilization, particularly in recent years, has had a devastating impact on fragile and sometimes irreplaceable environments. Among the main findings are the anticipated extinction of 1 million animal and plant species within decades, a consequence of our use of 75% of the Earth's land environment. Its authors say that now needs to translate into coordinated action.
Because biodiversity loss and climate change are environment, development, economic security issues, and must be addressed simultaneously, this means these issues are not just the domain of environment ministers.
The experts say the world needs a new form of post-growth economics to avert the existential consequences of habitat destruction and carbon emissions.
If we want to leave a world for our children and grandchildren that has not been destroyed by human activities, we need to act now.
The report identifies industrial farming and fishing as the major drivers of biodiversity loss, but it stresses it's not too late to make a difference.
We don't want that people feel discouraged, that there is nothing that can be done, that we've lost the battle, because we have not lost the battle. And if given a chance, nature will reconquer its rights and will prevail. And so we really want everyone to feel that they can contribute.
The main conclusion is that only a wide-ranging transformation of the global economy can pull ecosystems vital to human communities back from the brink. Finding the political will to make that happen is now the challenge facing world leaders. Neil O'Reilly, Euronews.
Well, one EU leader met with the scientists behind that report and confirmed his commitment not only to tackling climate change, but also the human damage to biodiversity. Rosie has been taking a look at that.
So what was made really clear yesterday, we have no time to waste, that's Sir Bob Watson, but also the time for action is now. Hopefully this report will stimulate the world. Well, some world leaders were listening and watching. And this scientist said, actually, it's not all just doom and gloom. I'm excited about this. It gives us hope, purpose and a clear path ahead. Well, someone who was really taking note of that was the French President, Emmanuel Macron. He met yesterday with some of the scientists yesterday. Now, up to you whether you think this is a PR stunt or whether he's taking this really seriously. But he has said this. This is the first time the facts have been established. Facts that are cruel to all of us and that are a call for action. Now, he's saying he's a man of his word. He's going to take action. He said, we can only win this battle by putting these two goals together. Number one, climate change. Number two, tackling biodiversity. He said, I'm going to reaffirm some of the promises that I've made previously. These are detailed here. Because there's a lot of this is about farming, industrial farming. We just heard in that report there. One thing he's promised, end the import of agricultural products from deforestation by 2030. Any products that have been made from deforestation, no, France will not be using them anymore. Another example, pay farmers who implement environment services such as preserving wetlands. Make it financially sensible and viable for farmers to look after the environment. So the scientists have said, world, listen up. Emmanuel Macron says, I'm listening.
Rosie there in the Cube. We're going to take a look now at some other stories making the news today. Two Reuters journalists who were sentenced to 7 years in jail for breaking Myanmar's Official Secrets Act have now been freed. Wa Lone and Kwa Suu were released after President Win Myint issued a blanket pardon for 6,500 prisoners. At the time of their arrest, the men were working on a report about the massacre of Rohingya Muslims by security forces in a village in the northern Rakhine state. The Russian transport minister says the bodies of the 41 passengers killed after an Aeroflot passenger plane caught fire before an emergency landing in Moscow have now been recovered. Authorities say the fire was probably caused by pilot error, by a technical malfunction or by adverse weather conditions. Still to come, our Euro road trip is now in Transylvania in Romania, where small businesses are worried about losing their workers abroad.
What comes to your mind when you think of the Middle East? A place where business and culture are coming together to make a bridge between East and West? Well, from here, we'll bring you our flagship regional program, Inspire Middle East. We'll bring you incredible stories, connect you with the influencers whose innovations are driving business, technology, and the arts, to create that vibe that is so very Middle East of the future. Be inspired and join us on Inspire Middle East every Friday on Euronews and Euronews.com.
Good Morning Europe, coming up on Euronews.
Welcome back to the studio. Good to have you with us this morning. It's time to check in with our Euro road trip, which, of course, from the beginning has been making its way from Portugal. It's now in the Transylvania region of Romania, not looking for vampires, but rather looking for the opinions of voters. Today, we are heading from a small town to Brasov, one of Romania's busier cities. Damon Embling has been speaking to small business owners who say they are struggling.
Sitting in the heart of Transylvania, the town of Rizhnov, home to 15,000 people and where small businesses are trying to make a go of things. We're heading to a bijou clothing company run by a husband and wife with a passion for design.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Please come in.
Thank you. T-shirts and dresses among the items coming off the sewing machines here. But the team isn't what it used to be. 15, now down to 5. Owner Diana tells us it's tough to recruit and retain young, motivated and qualified staff.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult because they are not specialized. You take them, you teach them how to do things, and then they leave because they feel like abroad it's better for them.
Some of the company's production has been moved to Bucharest. The boss is not ruling out taking some to Bulgaria too, keeping it in the EU, but with little EU help, Diana tells us.
I think the European Union does a lot of things to help us. But our governors do not want to take that money. And if they take that money, they make it very, very difficult for us to benefit from that money.
But this is a company hungry for growth, banking on digital expansion to grow its €300,000 annual turnover. And if it doesn't work out in Romania, Diana and her husband may up sticks.
Even my partner, he's very fond of Romania, and he never wanted to move. He said, maybe we don't have to keep on hoping, and maybe we can find another place.
Nearby Brasov is one of Romania's biggest cities, a big contributor to the country's economy. How easy is it to carve out a living here? Time for our red sofa.
So a lot of people are leaving for better salaries in Western Europe, and also as all of Europe has a birth problem, there's not enough children being born, and I think that's also a problem.
Only good part is the rental because it's very cheap here, but the food, when you go out with friends, you must pay a lot of money, and you don't earn to go out like the other countries.
Romania's economy has grown since joining the EU, but developing and holding on to its workforce is now one of the biggest challenges it faces. Damon Embling, Euronews in Transylvania.
And of course, you can catch up with the road trip tomorrow as well. In the meantime, still to come here on the programme today, how to stop another migration crisis. The leader of Libya's Western-backed government is in Europe to try to find a solution. Plus, the US Secretary of State also in Europe, this time to try and shore up diplomatic support. And what would you think that Harry and Meghan are going to call their baby? The bets are on. We'll be talking about that after the break. But before that, a no comment. It comes from the US and from New York, where Lady Gaga stole the show at the Met Gala.
Gaga, to your left, please.
Good Morning Europe, coming up on Euronews.